20,000 leagues under the sea. Run silent, run deep. Hunt for Red October. Stories about submarines are always fraught with drama, risking your life to stuff yourself inside a pressurized tube and fly, blindly for the most part, beneath the waves. Well, the technology has come a very long way, but the drama and the risks, they are still very real. In a way, this image seems backwards. It looks like some kind of fighter jet that may have wound up in the ocean, but then why would they be putting it back? Well, it's not a fighter jet, but it is a flying object, an undersea flying craft, nimble and agile, as their YouTube video demonstrates. But it doesn't go quite this fast. In fact, the top speed of the craft is about the same as an outrigger canoe in a race, around 6 knots. Speed is not what this is about. It's about exploration, boldly going where man has gone before, but in a way, most of us have never could. Unless you've got the cash.
Well, if you'd like an Orca sub, we can build one for you for approximately $2.19 million.
Like I said, most of us never could. But this isn't a story about selling mini subs either. It's about a point in time, space, and technology, merging to create a specialized vehicle to serve a multitude of purposes. Here's how it works.
Well, this is a submarine that uses flight controls primarily to fly around underwater, as opposed to a simple submarine that fills ballast tanks and sinks and then fills them with air to rise. So you have a lot of control, it's very fast, and you have a lot of distance that you can get to during any one day.
This is a straight mechanical control, and so you really have to meld yourself, become one with it. It just becomes part of you. And once you do that, then it's very smooth handling. I'm also an instrument-rated pilot with aerobatics, and it's just like melding yourself to the airplane. Once you just surrender to it, go with its movements, what she tells you, then it's really sweet.
Its power comes from electric batteries, so there are 0 emissions above or below the surface, and it can go well below the surface.
The depth is about 1,000 feet, and range was, depending on how fast you want to go and how you use your batteries, you could probably go 10 or 15 miles.
And while down there, the SAS policy is look but don't touch. They don't land, they don't have a claw to grab, but they have very sharp eyes.
Our general way of going is not to touch anything, not to disturb anything. We're there to observe quietly, not disturb the environment. But we do carry 2 high-definition cameras, and the rear cockpit, you can see the video screen and flip back and forth, and it's sometimes the underwater high definition sees better than the pilots do.
Plus, the craft's unique ability to stay neutrally buoyant means they can hover, go backwards, and do it without disturbing the environment. The undersea world is vast. Vast enough that there are areas still never seen by any human. But the Sub Aviator's chief pilot, Captain Alfred Scott McLaren, has seen more of the undersea world than almost anyone, with his first sub ride more than a half-century ago. His Navy career included a stint at Pearl Harbor on the USS Queenfish, but it was where he went from there that's so remarkable.
We left here in July of 1970 and went to the Arctic and surveyed all 5,200 kilometers, the entire Siberian continental shelf at the height of the Cold War.
Due to his undersea experience navigating virtually the entire Arctic Circle underwater, they call McLaren the Arctic Fox. Those dives were long before Sub Aviator was created, and that's not all this undersea veteran has seen.
Well, the coolest thing I've seen is the dives I made. I made 2 dives on Titanic with the Russians. I was on the team to make the first manned dives on the German battleship Bismarck in 2001, 2002, almost 16,000 feet beneath the sea. And then I've dived the hydrothermal vents with the Russians.
So you get the sense that you're in pretty capable hands learning from McLaren. At 6'3", the Arctic Fox is a pretty big guy, and just about as big as a sub can handle. It's a tight fit, but Lewis says they've never had a complaint about claustrophobia.
People always ask that, but these domes, when they come down, have absolute clarity. There's no distortion in the lens, and so the effect is when you go underwater, they just disappear. And it feels like you're in an open biplane in the underwater environment. It's really a special experience.
There are dozens of safety features, enough oxygen for 48 hours, fighter jet type displays and controls, high-def cameras for exploration, archaeology and ichthyology studies, and documentary filming, and perhaps most importantly, almost unimaginable fun.
Oh, this is the best fun there is. It's just the most amazing craft. And people who would like to scuba dive, but maybe have problems with their ears or don't like the claustrophobia of wearing all that gear and the awkwardness, this is a way to go to the underwater environment and see it up close, be much more like a fish, blend in with the environment, and yet have the autonomy to go wherever you want. Because you're using flight controls and a joystick and rudder pedals, it's a very intuitive interface that people really understand very, very quickly.
I actually have a medical condition that means I can't scuba dive. So this is actually my first experience of actually being underwater and get down to 100 feet, look back up at the sun at the surface. It's an unbelievable experience.
This is not a pleasure craft, although there's certainly plenty of that. This is not a passenger craft, so they don't sell rides. The Sub Aviator is, for now, a one-of-a-kind prototype that was blessed when it arrived at Mala Wharf by Kahu Lions Naone, captured on video for the Canadian Discovery Channel on the experiences of the Arctic fox. The sub and crew will only be on Mala Wharf through the end of the month, but you can contact them through their website to learn how to train as a Sub Aviator pilot. That training includes full flight check with the crew chief, then a fully attended launching, and the constant attention of Sub Daddy, the rigid inflatable boat with constant underwater communication and a very cool tracking system that knows exactly where the sub is at all times. But that's not tough to do on this gorgeous day in West Maui. As the Arctic Fox prepares to dive, he takes his student pilot through a series of porpoise moves, diving and surfacing just like Flipper. And after constant radio coordination, the Arctic Fox even brings the Sub Aviator up for a breach. At this point, our crew is taken back to shore because somebody has to go back and get some work done, while the Arctic Fox takes another student pilot below for another incredible experience. If you'd like to learn more about the Sub Aviator systems or about the colorful career of Captain McLaren, go to MauiTVNews.com and follow the link to this week's stories.